Hello, so let's get started and start with the basic things. Now, before you do anything else, I recommend you look at the quest for daily quest over here and reroll them. As you can see, rerolling just costs the stars. So you have to reroll a quest 5 times. So in case you are going to fight with a sword, let's say you want to reroll it to fight with the weapon you want. So basically, the first thing you should do while you enter the game is reroll the quest, daily quests, so you get the ones that you like. Also, you need 5 rerolls to get a feat. Let me just show you that right now, so I don't forget about it later. Daily quest 1 and daily quest 2. And as you can see, you will need 3 days to complete this one, because, well, I guess you technically need less days, but this one might appear a little bit later. So definitely check out the daily quest stuff, because that's the only quest that you cannot really do by playing more of the game. Now, the cosmetic stuff, not very important, to be honest. If you see a little line over here, just know that sometimes you will have to swap your weapon. So you can clear that check mark over there, that exclamation mark. Now let's talk about the resources. The resources are basically like this. You have these crystals over here, which are needed to upgrade certain perks up a certain level. At some point they'll ask crystals. This is your main currency, which is used to upgrade your weapon, but also upgrade the perks. So super important, because the weapons, well, you kind of have to upgrade all of the weapons. Now, the little stars over here, I showed you some of the uses. Probably have more uses for them in the future with buying other stuff and other things here and there. As you can see, this is strictly for crystals. The keys, these are the keys to the second level, these are the keys to the third level. Not much to say over here. Now, about the perks. Well, the perks, it's kind of like a no-brainer in my opinion. The first perk you should get is health, the second perk you should get is attack, and the third one will be Scourge of Omnipotence to get more Eternal Shards, which are these things over here, because you want to be able to upgrade everything very fast. So yeah, definitely no-brainer, not much to say over here. And the fourth one, in my opinion, should be the Renewal of Dust. Dust is the stuff you get when you defeat monster, is the ball. So when your ball fills up, you can upgrade your stats. So if your ball fills up double the amount, that means you can get basically double the amount of stats, which in most cases means you get about 12 extra attacks. So yeah, that will make you have 24 extra attack, which is huge. Just consider the implications. I mean, it also depends on the class you're playing, but you really want more dust, so you can basically farm enemies before entering the torture chambers. For the crystal, like I said, it's a no-brainer. You need a lot of crystals to upgrade your perks, but also to upgrade your weapon. And you need to upgrade multiple weapons as well. And I think you should go up to 3 health, and then go up to 3 attack, and then if you can unlock the third perk over here, definitely help a lot. After that, you're basically free to do whatever you like. Now, the Renewal of Dust, of course, will be next, like I said, but then after that, it kind of depends on what you like. So, if you don't have a certain perk, you probably should wait until you get it. Let me just mouse over all of the ones I have. Shattering is when you resurrect, is the amount of health you get. If you have a lot of Shattering, which is basically like a basic character, you'll resurrect with about 20 health. If you have less Shattering, that means you'll resurrect with, at some point, with a third of your HP and then half of your HP. Resurrect players 20% faster, rerolling relics is cheaper, more damage when your dust meter is full. This is also pretty important. Probably will be my next choice. But you can also get the regenerate your health below a certain point. So if I was to play, I would say I would choose these 3, 4 over here with the dust, and then the regeneration, because damage you can get. The other stuff, I guess if you're an archer, you'll want this one. And again, it depends on what you're playing as, because it's kind of hard to understand these weapons. So let's begin with the feats over here. This is basically like your account level, and to be honest, it's going to take you a lot of time until you understand the quest. So in my opinion, you should first level up your weapon and play with all of the weapons, but I think you should stick with the weapon you like. Let's make a short introduction to all of the weapons. The bows are the highest damage weapons, but sadly after you fire 5 times you have to right click to get that. The heavy arrows don't do that much damage. This thing, as you can see, it will shoot upwards and it will damage the enemy. Now you cannot select the area of the effect, so the arrows will always shoot upwards. So this will hurt your wrist a lot. If you have problems with your wrist or hands, don't play as the archer. This is also the most aggressive weapon you can get in the game, and also the easiest weapon you can get. If you upgrade it, you just get more attack to it. The upgrade effects are quite nice. This is a tank weapon, meaning you can guard, block the enemy's attack, so you will probably need more HP with this one. Don't worry about the injustice or whatever they said, that's just a meter. Super slow, kind of weak, but your special power will give everyone that uses it a shield for that lasts. I don't think it expires, so it's very good to give the people in your party an extra shield, or whoever there is. So this is definitely a defensive weapon. Now the daggers, well... the daggers are a bit of a bigger discussion. They're supposed to be a burst weapon, but that's kind of like what they do. So you gain the grid, and you can upgrade certain things a certain way. But as you can see, sometimes it's kind of hard to use. 500 damage. That's a lot of damage. If you upgrade all of the stuff, trust me, these things will do a lot of damage. But again, it's a high risk, high reward type of situation, and if you upgrade them, you get critical damage. So, yeah, the more critical damage you have, the better it will be, because that thing does a lot of damage. So it's sustained, more or less sustained damage, but with a huge burst, and the staff, well, the staff is my favorite. It's just bouncing damage, but this is also slow, plus a little bit of damage. Which is great to pick up random chests along the map. If you upgrade this, you get empathy. Empathy, well, I guess this is what they don't really tell you. Empathy is everything passive about your character. With empathy you resurrect faster, with empathy you refill your weapon power faster. There are certain interactions between the empathy and some other stuff, but mostly it's your power and your ability to resurrect players faster. I think you might also resurrect with a little more HP if you have more of it, but mostly you use it to combo hits in co-op. Co-op is basically everything, so you don't need to be in a party to have the co-op bonuses. Let me show you. I guess it doesn't show over here, so when you see the co-op meter rising, that means you have a higher chance of critical attack. So basically with this weapon, since you hit multiple times, your critical attack will rise very, very fast. Your critical rate, and then you just hit criticals. I recommend use the heavy attacks because you launch 2 balls as opposed to 1. Okay, big co-op strike. My record was 500 combos. Yeah, that was annoying to do, but it did happen. Okay, now you get the idea. So what is the best weapon? Well, I guess that's up to you. If you have a hand without any pain, use the bow, because this is the most aggressive weapon, the most damaging weapon, the most damaging power, and also the people that use the bow tend to get the highest score. If you want to help your party members, you want to be a tank. The tank also helps you with certain things because you'll rarely die, and you also have access to the shield as for yourself. So definitely one of the more interesting classes, but it's one of those classes that you want one in every party, but it's not going to be as fun to play. Now the daggers are kind of like a high risk, high reward type of deal, with you being able to do a lot of damage, but also not much in terms of defense. And your player power doesn't do much, it's just a buff for damage. Now this thing over here is a specialist. You slow down enemies, and then with your power you just immobilize them. Very good for solo play, for farming. But sadly it doesn't really have a lot of burst damage or a lot of specialty damage. For example, you don't have the crit of the daggers, you don't have the block of the sword, you don't have the damage and the range of the bow. But this is my preferred weapon, and this is what we'll play with. Now, for the feats over here, what is the thing you should upgrade first? Well, like I said, sadly you'll have to play with all of the weapons, because you will get the bonuses for your character if you complete some of this. What do I mean by that? Well, for example, I'm playing with the Staff of Sloth, but as you can see, I just got 1 empathy for maxing it out. So there are multiple quest lines. So what you are supposed to do? Well, sadly, after you upgrade your weapon, the weapon that you like to level 2, I mean you finish the quests that are up to level 2 and maybe a little more, you should play with the other weapons, because it's very easy to complete the quest. So for example, the first tier of the quest will basically, you finish it in a single fight, in a single round, in a single game. Just remember what you have to do. So kill damage with takedown, and cast 3 co-op powers with the daggers of grid. So that basically means 30 feats. So 30, 16, 90, 120, just from the weapon ones. After that, we should be finishing the Rebel Soul, which just means dealing damage, resurrecting, co-op stuff, all of that. By the way, I think this means you have to teleport to 5 players in a single game, so that means you need at least 250 bones. It's not hard to do, you just have to think about it and do it. This will give you shattering resistance, so that's why I don't really think it's important, but the ones with the weapons will give you attack or defense or even health. You can see this will reduce the amount of damage you take, which is absolutely necessary. So the second way to upgrade your character is through the feat system, but it's not very clear, is it? Is it? Also, I recommend you play with a party at least once or twice so you can finish some of these quests and kind of remember it, because this is the hardest or the easiest one to do. It's very easy to do if you have a party, but the developers should never include something that requires your party to do. If you don't have a party by default, if you don't have matchmaking, they should not include this. So you have to get to a very high level with your feats, which means playing with all of the weapons and completing as many quests as possible so you can unlock the third perk slot over here. I think this unlocks at 7, this is 11, and this is, yeah, as you can see, the last ones will be very hard to unlock. So basically with the passive stats increased, as you can see I have a lot of health and a lot of damage and a lot of empathy, you are ready to go. Now as for the game itself, well, like I said, you really need to do all of this and play the game a lot of times. The relics are a bit of an issue as well, because you need to find them before you can use them. So sadly that means you have to find the token for them, unlock the relic itself, and then you can find it. Which might be a little bit annoying because some of these things will be super hard to get and super rare. For example, I didn't get this one very early into the game, but when I got it I realized it can be super good in certain situations. But mostly it depends on your character. For example, this one is just pure damage, you always take that. You basically want all the damage and also the healing. Let's see what that healing is. Yeah, there's a thing over here that regenerates your health. I don't remember what it is. This one. This is probably the most interesting and most important one you can get. So try to get damage. If you cannot get damage, try to get regeneration like this one, or the braids. This is also pretty good because you take a lot less damage. And then just utility or the type of attack you use. Now let's get into the weapon upgrades. Now this is a pretty annoying thing because you also have to get the drops. You have to get a token. How to get a token? Well, you get the token by playing with the weapon. So if you're playing with the staff, you might find tokens for the staff. But you'll never be able to find it unless you go up to this level. So I think at level 6 do the weapon upgrades unlock. So this is again, you need to level up your feats. Because if you don't level up your feats to unlock the weapon upgrades, they will never drop. So basically you're playing for nothing in the first 5 hours to 10 hours of the game. So try to go to feat 6 as fast as you can. Try to select the weapon that you'll use and you like. And then just play the game a lot more until you find the modifiers that you like. Also, this is going to be super expensive. As you can see, 1000 crystals. This is why I said you should always equip the thing that gives you more crystals. For the staff over here, it will be bouncing orbs, because this will create a second line of orbs that basically deal 100 extra damage. Plus, again, I'll not go into details, but this is kind of like the best one I like. And from now on, I'll start to raise up my crystals to upgrade that to the last tier, so it's always 100% for that perk, and then I'll just unlock this slot over here. Now, there's no point in upgrading, in my opinion, beyond level 3. Just level it up to level 3, and then focus on unlocking this slot over here. And that's it. That's all of the progression you need to know and all of the tips you need to know about the game. Now, I'll play a little bit so you can see how I play as a solo character and kind of cheesing the game. I'll try to get... Well, basically, you have to get as many keys as you want. You usually want to stop at around 2 keys or 3 at most, because you don't have time to get more than that. So you have to roam the map to get the urns, to get a little bit of bones, and then you just have to hope the chest will drop keys. If the chest don't drop keys, then you have to buy a key. Don't worry, you can take damage. Also, to be careful because the bones will sometimes be behind the gate. Now you might want to buy something from here as soon as you can, like the key or the teleport stone. Usually I like to have at least one teleport stone. But yeah, this class is a little bit special because of the range. Allowing you to collect the bones and kind of hurry out of the way without any issues. I like to roam around the edges and then sometimes go through the middle. By the way, in my opinion, you should take no damage while in this part of the game, but I guess that's unavoidable. Basically you want the chest and that's all you want and need. Sometimes there will be a bigger chest with a boss attached to it, but that mostly depends how many people there are. Usually I go for them as well because this will basically reduce the amount of time you need to grind, plus it will give you maybe enough dust to level up once. Yeah, but usually you get hit by enemies because the enemies will spawn, the players will not kill them. But no, the enemies will not spawn, but they'll come from other locations around here. Now what I like to do is use light attacks until I have a decent amount of crit, then go for the heavy ones. But I think about 50 crits should be enough. It's kind of like a bigger dance. Sadly, I think I'm not very cautious at all. That's because I'm recording. When I'm not recording, I play a lot more carefully. Plus, you can also kind of predict where your enemy will go. Okay, so that's nice. Also, as you can see, I have a key and a teleporter stone, which is super early to have these. Also, sometimes you can find relics in these big chests. And what I want to do is to go to all of the dungeons and buy the teleporter stones and the keys if I don't have them, but also the heal in this situation. I normally want to go to the dungeon that will be done first, so let's do that. Okay, buy the teleporter stones as well, because I want to do the 5 teleports for that mission. This is how good an upgraded weapon is. Imagine if I had 2 upgrades on it instead of 1, plus a few more damage upgrades. So this is basically how I play as a solo character. I think everyone got the idea by now. So I'll just end the video over here. Actually no, let me finish the dungeon. So you can see how fast you can finish it with a new party versus, you know, a more experienced party. These guys look like they know what they're doing. First dungeon will always be the hardest. Probably, wait, was I full dust before I entered? I don't know. I tried not to get too confused about the game, but sometimes it's a little harder, so I just ignore certain aspects, like is my dust full, can I farm a little more? Usually this game has a very steep risk versus reward mountain. So yeah, most of the time you just go for the safety torture dungeon. Instead of risking it longer to just get more dust. Yeah, I'm playing so... I guess I'm playing kind of bad, but it doesn't matter because I'll survive until the boss end. Maybe other players will survive as well. Now, this is very important that you keep your team alive. And sometimes the players will die without reason. is particularly annoying because it can just fly up to you and then use the attack. No, thank you. You cannot get me with that one. So I have 2 more teleports to buy. Now is this good? Yeah, anything with damage is good. If you don't roll damage, you can re-roll, but usually damage is the best. You know, I also like a little bit of extra health, why not? I also have a quest to do more relics, to get more relics. Like I said, buy the teleporter stone and then enter it over here. I guess this is how you're supposed to play it. It can be very annoying and very hard unless you find enough bones in the beginning. Oh yeah, I have to use my claw part so I can get more stars at the end. Yeah, the arrow power is so overpowered. I mean, look at that, we just cleared half of the room in no time. Now, admittedly, you want to end up using your dust before you go to the next dungeon, but right now I don't think dust is that important for me because I'm just doing quests. So, when you don't have important quests to do and you just have to complete a single objective, definitely go for the dust and upgrade it as much as you can. If you have other objectives, yeah, go for this. Oh wow, that's kind of good. Yeah, I'm kind of used to the game and right now I'm just taking whatever I can. I'm not going to... No, I don't use light attacks. Oh, they already opened the torture chamber. No, just in case, slow them. Okay, let me go over there and let me buy another teleport so I don't forget about it. No, I'm missing a single bone. This is insane. Yeah, let me get that face. So I don't want to forget about anything, so let me just go over here and buy the teleport stone. So probably I would say the teleporter stones are the more important ones, if I was completely honest. Yeah, that's filled up already. You can also move. But definitely move while you're doing that, so you don't get hit. You know what, let's play more of the game. Why not? The little guys are so annoying because if you don't have other weapons, the stuff is very hard to use if enemies are right in your face. I got hit by that. Also, sometimes you don't have enough dust from a single dungeon run. That means you have to kill a few enemies outside as well, but you just need the, the upgraded dust drop. This is a particularly annoying enemy, as you can see, it's very hard to pin down. Usually I try to kill all of the range units, all of the smaller units, so my teammates don't have problems with them. Well, I guess if I'm a little tankier, this will have to do. was a bit of a waste, but hey. Oh, how I hate some of these enemies. I think they should kind of tone down the effects from this ability, because as you can see it obscures the entire screen. And I guess next time I'll play the game, I'll have to do the mission where I open 8 chests. Okay, it's stunned. Well, that was not so bad. But this basically means I cannot take any damage, otherwise I'll be in trouble. I mean, the slow is not that fast. Always watch out for the traps. This is the boring part of the game, I guess. Okay, we're almost done, and then I'll end the video. Complete 3 chambers with the slot of the Staff of Sloth. That is my quest. And also, before you open the chest, you should have about 15 bones. So you can reroll 2 times. Yeah, that's not very useful. Ah, I'll get that one. Huh. Looks like they have been doing this dungeon for a while. So we shouldn't have much work left. Okay, that's a lot of work left. They haven't even started on the boss, that's a bit crazy. And this one has 2 bosses. This is probably the hardest combination in my opinion, just because, you know, you just have to waste a lot of time and you not have time for more dungeons. Well, which boss should you kill first? Well, tough one. I guess you have to try and kill the more static boss, which is the witch. So destroy the skulls so they don't explode. Okay, this is perfect. Watch as my damage grows. Okay, let's do 2 light attacks. Then it's all about timing. Don't forget your crystals. I guess we can accept that. I don't need... well, I thought I could reach that one in time, but no. Did I know there was something good here? Not really, but usually you kind of have to follow the map. There was a key. Also, as you can see, I would have to farm another dust level and a few other things. But that's going to be harder to do. I guess I can just get the bones. Let me get 50 bones, so I'll teleport directly. I also recommend you kind of have a teleport ready for the last phase of the game, because, you know, you might have a lot of people not going to the middle, but to another place. Come on, where are all the barons? Forget that. You kind of have to know how to do these things, but they shouldn't be too hard. So yeah, if you cannot do enough dungeons to get the relics, then you might as well just open the chest. This is very lucky, by the way, to get this amount of runes. Amount of relics, I mean. I buy this one. Now basically I kind of have a free pass, and I can just roam around and do whatever I like. I don't really need to collect more of this stuff, but I just want more crystals. Again, that's the upgrade resource. Now normally when this phase starts you should always run towards the middle, that's your best bet, but this time I'll just be lazy and teleport. So one of the things I like about the game is that there are certain permanent things, so this will always be there, it's a permanent thing. So usually there is a vase or something over there, but sometimes there can be a chest as well, and that's just the easiest chest to open in the game. Well, I guess since I have the healing, it will be a little easier for me. Don't forget to put your thing in the middle. So try to get as many of the shields as you can. Taking damage from something. Oh, that was it. That was a little too fast. Sadly, I think another group will just die. Okay, let's ascend. I guess I can do the whole thing, yeah. And this is how I normally play. I mean, usually I play a little better than this, but I guess if you get 8 relics per run and you complete some missions, that's kind of like the best result you can get. Okay, this is very bad. Well, I guess we failed the boss, but we gave it our best shot. See you next time, bye bye.